Good morning, welcome to the licensing panel for today. Unfortunately, Councillor Eric Firth is unable to chair this meeting today, so the first point of order is to appoint a chair for the meeting. Please could I have nominations?
Nominate Zarina Amin.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Councillor Amin, would you like to come into the chair? Thank you.
Thank you. We'll just start with a round of introduction. So I'm Councillor Zarina Amin.
I'm Councillor Alex Vickers.
Councillor Donna Bellamy.
I'm David Stickley. I'm the solicitor of the panel.
I'm Nicola Sylvester. I'm a Principal Governance Officer.
Would officers like to...
Good morning, Chair. I'm Anwar Butt. I'm the licensing officer presenting the report this morning.
Hi, and I'm Stephanie Mashter, the Senior Licensing Officer. Thank you, Chair.
Would the applicant like to introduce themselves?
Good morning, everyone. My name's Jill Sherratt. I'm from Licensing Matters and we are representing the applicant today.
Good morning. My name is Hemi Solanki and I am the applicant of the licence.
The gentleman on the end won't be speaking. He's if you want him to move back, he can do, but he's here just to observe.
It's not a problem.
Good morning, I'm Councillor Cathy Scott for the Dewsbury East Ward.
Thank you, everybody. Can I just remind attendees that the session will be live webcast, and if everybody can either put their phones on silent or switch them off. Can I ask participants if you have received a copy of the licensing hearing procedure, which complies with Regulation 22 of the 2005 regulations and explains the hearing will be conducted, how the hearing will be conducted, and that they've read and understood the information?
Yes, Chair, we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just invite the licensing officer to outline the application?
Can we just go through the agenda points?
Apologies, yeah.
So,
yeah. Apologies, yeah. So, minutes, membership of the panel, are there any absences?
all the panels here, Chair.
Minutes of the previous meeting. I was not here, as I believe, Councillor... Are you okay to approve the minutes? Yes. Thank you. Are there any interest to declare? If members have any interest to declare, can you do that with the participating forms at the end of the session? Admission of the public. The agenda items will take place in public. Only changes where there is need to consider exempt information as contained in Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972. You will be informed at this point which items are to be recommended for exclusion and resolved by panel. Any deputations or petitions?
None received, Chair. None received, Chair.
Right. So the licensing, are we... So now I'd like to invite the licensing officer to outline the application. Right, so we are looking at the application for a grant of premises licence at Shawcross Store, 128 Smallwood Road, Shawcross in Dewsbury. Thank you. With the licensing.
Thank you, Chair. You ready for me? Okay, thank you. Okay, so the purpose of the report is to inform members of an application for the grant of a premises licence. One representation has been received and is therefore referred to panel for determination. The application. On the 7th of June 2025, the Licensing Department received an application for the grant of a premises licence for Shawcross Stores Limited. That is 128 Smallwood Road, Shawcross, Dewsbury, WF12 7RR. Copy of that application and plan are at Appendix A of this bundle. The licence activities applied for are as follows: a sale of alcohol off sales, Monday to Sunday, 6 a.m. to 2300 hours. The application has been advertised in accordance with the requirements of the Licensing Act. During the consultation period, representations have been received from local ward councillors. These representations are concerned that should this licence be granted, the following licensing objectives may not be met. They're all 4 licensing objectives: the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, the protection of children from harm. A copy of the representations is attached to Appendix B to this report. There's no previous history of this premise being licensed. So, members considering the application must take note of the authority's statement of licensing policy, which provides guidance on the application and the approach to representations. Additionally, the Secretary of State guidance should be referred to. That is Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003. As representations relate to all 4 of the licensing objectives, members' attention is drawn to the guidance. I've attached that at Appendix C. Excuse me. Let me see. So, during the consultation period, apart from what I've already mentioned, none of the responsible authorities have had any issues with this application. Okay. Bear with me. So the next steps. When determining the application, members having regard to the representations may take such steps as they consider appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. These steps are: may grant the application, should I say, grant the premise licence application with appropriate conditions, exclude from the scope of the licence any licensable activities which relate to this application, or reject the premise licence application. Findings on any issues should be of fact and on the balance of probability. In arriving at your decision, you must have regard to the relevant provisions of the statutory guidance, the licensing policy of statement, and reasons must be given for any departure. The decision should be based on individual merits of the application. That concludes my sum up, Chair. I'll hand back to you.
Thank you. I've got a few questions, so I'll kick off first. Do we know what the planning on this site was, so in terms of hours of use?
I haven't made specific inquiries. Planning and licensing, as you know, are both separate. Planning are a consultee, and they haven't responded. On some occasions, planning do respond, and if there's a conflict between the hours applied for and the planning hours, they generally let us know. However, as you all know, the applicant must be aware of that. It's their responsibility. For the benefit of this report, I'm outlining obviously the application. If you want me to go back to planning, I can do that, but just to make the applicant aware, should the application be granted, that they need to take care of both licensing and planning hours, otherwise they would be at odds with the planning department, who would obviously take issue with any breaches of planning hours. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. You've said responsible authorities,
Yes.
they've all come back, they've not objected.
There's been no responses to the application from any of the responsible authorities. Correct.
Right, okay. My colleagues have any questions? Does anybody else have any questions for the licensing officer? Yeah. Okay. So would the applicant, agent, would you like to outline your application? Thank you.
I would, thank you. Can I just raise a preliminary point on the procedure? Just noticed the closing statements. It's usual for the applicant to be last, to get the final word. It's just a preliminary point. Thank you, Chair. I'm here on behalf of Shawcross Store Limited, the premises licence holder, and the person behind this business is the lady sat next to me, and this is her husband as well. But I've dealt with Mrs. Solanke throughout. This is Hemi. She's the person with the personal licence and is named as DPS on the application. She's here to answer any questions you might have. As you know, the application is for 6 until 11. And we've had a conversation this morning. Obviously, applicants come to us for advice. We advise on hours and things like that. These licences are permanent if they're done correctly and there's no misbehaving and they don't get revoked. They're permanent for the life of the business. So we advise on hours. But Mrs. Solanki says that she doesn't intend to open beyond 10 o'clock at night. So we are happy to reduce the hours to 10 o'clock if you are minded to do so. It's not a problem. So that would be an amended application from 6 till 10. I'll give you some background. Mrs. Solanki has been involved in sales of alcohol, convenience retailing for most of her adult life. Between 2011 and 2017, she was responsible for the business that ran 2 family shops selling alcohol. In 2017, she worked for Lidl for 5 years and was trained in alcohol sales there as well, and then ran an off licence from August 2023. And life has brought her here with her husband back to wanting to run her own business. So they're in the process of purchasing this business. It's at the end, it's dependent on this licence being granted. If they get the licence today, that they will be signing a 20-year lease and hoping to take over as soon as possible. If you grant the licence today. And then moving forward, it will, I think the premises at the moment is just run by one gentleman. They will be running it together. They're going to live just a mile away and they will run it together. And if they need extra staff, they will look at that in the future. The shop has been there, I understand, for around 15 years as a convenience store, selling everything that you would all know to be part of a convenience store, a full range. Fresh and frozen food, toiletries, household, etc. The only reason the current owner doesn't sell alcohol is due to his religion, because you'll know that alcohol's part of a convenience store 99.9% of the time. But it's religion, and also he runs the shop on a very limited basis at the moment. There's only him, and he opens between 8 and 6. He works alone. He closes the shop when he's not there. He closes it on a Tuesday when he goes to cash and carry. So he just operates it himself. He's a one-man band, and it's a very limited offering at the moment. Now, if Mrs. Solanki and her husband are granted this licence today, that will change. They have plans to invest around 30 to 40,000 in this property. To upgrade it, to revitalise the business. So I'll come to the equipment in a second, but all the equipment that I will be telling you about will be brand new, modern and suitable to make sure that the licensing objectives are upheld. So the modernisation of the shop in terms of the services that will be available to the local residents, and I know Mrs. Solanki's been there at least twice a week for the run-up to her being able to buy this business, and has spoken with the residents who have been asking, are you going to be doing this, are you going to be doing that? And that is exactly what they are intending to do. They want to widen the scope of what takes place, what you're able to obtain from this shop. As again, I think we're all used to being able to pay bills. She's going to install PayPoint, PayZone, there will be the lottery application. People will be able to send parcels every Amazon, and in time there will be an application made for a post office, as the nearest post office is around 3 to 4 miles away. And Hemi's already had experience of working in a post office that's part of a convenience store. So they want to make the business grow and they want to make it a success for the future. And it seems that is what residents are very, very supportive of as well. So I won't go on about the convenience products. Alcohol usually takes form of about 10 to 15% of the goods on sale. You'll have seen the plan. They're partnering with Premier, which is owned by Booker, which is in turn owned by Tesco. So it's they're a safe pair of hands in terms of the people behind the products and the service and the supply of them. They'll be coming from just wholesalers that we're all aware of. That's Booker. So it's not just Mrs. Solanke and her husband, but you've got that layer behind them because of all the support systems that come with that as well. So they're doing everything properly. Now, we appreciate it's in a residential area, and the comments being made that it's not appropriate for an application of this nature for a residential area. Well, I beg to differ on that. Convenience stores are in residential areas like this. That's what they're there for. They're there so that you can nip out, I'm sure we've all done it, to get exactly what you need. They are convenience stores, and they live side by side and opposite shops everywhere in the country. It's quite unusual for a convenience store to have gone this length of time without selling alcohol, but to be viable and to be able to provide people with everything that they need in one go, the alcohol licence is crucial to the signing of this lease, and it won't happen without it. So in terms of the equipment and procedures, of course, it's my job here today to give you confidence that the licensing objectives will be upheld at this premises. That's the only test for you here today. And in that regard, the investment means that there will be a brand new CCTV system. So the CCTV's been in there a long time. It will be taken out and a new one put in with around 12 cameras inside, doubling the amount of cameras that are there now. They will go at the front, at the side, at the back, and there will be an updated system that can be viewed remotely. And of course, you'll have seen the condition that the data must be retained for 31 days and provided on request to authorities. Mrs. Solanke is used to doing that, providing, usually with retailers, CCTVs provided for things other than the shop. It's usually things that happen outside, and the police come in and say, have you got the CCTV? We've had an accident or whatever outside. And she's used to doing that. She'll carry on doing that here. So the CCTV will be a good quality system, which will help uphold the licensing objectives. Then you've got staff training. Hemi's obviously got a personal licence, but the staff training, regardless of if it's just these two owners themselves, they still need to refresh their training, regardless of the personal licence course. Every 12 months, that's what the condition dictates. They will be doing that by way of an online system. I've got a brochure of it here if you wanted to see it, but basically it's e-learning and everything is automated to ensure that staff training is in place before anybody sells alcohol. Then you've got the incident register, refusals register. It will be a new EPOS till system with till prompts, and you've seen the Challenge 25 condition as well. So you'll have already seen all of that. It's not just lip service, it's here, it's formalised, it will become binding in law because we've offered it voluntarily as part of the application. So those offerings, the background, the experience of Mrs. Solanke and her husband demonstrate the strength of this application. It is extremely robust. The fact that there may be issues in the area already, there are issues everywhere in the country. It doesn't matter. They can't be laid at the door of good business owners who want they're in fact an asset in the, and I'll go into that a little later when I sum up actually, but the fact of the existence of issues doesn't mean that a good retailer cannot trade perfectly responsibly, provided they have all the correct policies and procedures and they themselves are responsible. So none of the authorities have objected, as you have heard. And in fact, you don't have any objections off any residents either. So I would ask you to grant the application as we've applied for. But as I've said, if you feel it's helpful, we are happy to reduce the top end of it till 10 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have a question for the applicant, just touching on their experience, really. If you can let me know a little bit more. I believe you said you ran your own off license?
Yes. So obviously, right now I'm divorced with him anyway. But it was since 2011 I came in this country, and since then my father-in-law used to run his store. And then obviously when me and my husband married each other. And then we bought another business with him. And then obviously since 5 o'clock in the morning, we used to open the shop because we had the papers on that time. And my father-in-law, my husband, they used to do the paper rounds as well. So yeah, since then till 2017, we divorced, so obviously after that. I'll not run it. And then obviously me and my husband, when I married with him, we ran the business with him as well for 1 year. Just to, as my family's member anyway, but he's done something really wrong to us. Like, so obviously he used to live upstairs and he used to come downstairs and pitch the money and things. So we stopped after that. And then obviously I've started to work in the Lidl after this. And now we decide to buy our own store. That's it.
Thank you. So what would you do? I appreciate you've got CCTV and what would you do in the circumstances if you do start finding that 18-year-olds loitering, drinking outside the premises, especially with school children coming along? I mean, how have you got a proposal to deal with that rather than just ringing the police every time?
Sorry, we can do it.
Yeah, I have dealt with that kind of people many times anyway. Even I knew that person was drinking, like literally, he just opened the tin. I was behind the till and he opened the till and he literally, without paying, drank it straight away. And obviously I had quite experience with this kind of people. Obviously I had run to police and all sorts of things. Even if anything, like around, if the kids or anyone around there, then I take care of the kids, obviously, to keep that drunk person away from there. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll just to just further that, the training, we were talking about proxy purchasing and everything, and the depth of the training, it covers all of that kind of scenario. So if there was a situation where somebody was hanging around outside the CCTV, the monitor, everything they're expected to be vigilant. And then if they would be able to handle, I would hope, 90% of things that happen themselves, just by saying to people, can you move on, or please, this is where you live, don't you, whatever is appropriate at the time, because like you say, you don't want to be ringing the police every single time, do you? But hopefully all of that won't happen, but they have the policies and procedures in place to deal with it, and the experience.
Thank you. Do my panel members have any questions? Does anybody else have any questions for the applicant?
Just a couple of questions, please. I think you might have covered it, but if you could just clarify, please. Am I correct in saying that currently you don't live near the premises, but your intention is to move towards the premises? Could you just clarify that, please, and when that would be?
I'm not sure a licensing officer should be asking questions, I would say, but I asked that, and they are renting, they're moving a mile away.
When's that going to be?
Yes, thank you. We already rent the house. Even our rents already started there as well. It was only 1 mile away, like opposite side of Tesco. So yeah, we already got the house.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. So I'd like to invite Councillor Scott to make her objection. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not proposing to read it because I do believe everybody has received my representation. And I do want to point out this is in no way trying to prevent a business from running within our community. And I say our community because I actually live on Leeds Road, not far from there. So when I sent this objection in, it was based on the current situation that we have within that estate. Now, the business that's been there, the shop has been running there for 15 years. And I know Mr. Mahmood, I know him really well, and he operates, and his son operates it for him. It's his son that's there, and it's open all the time because I do go. And one of the reasons I'm really concerned is that really alarmed us And despite you saying you've had no representations, I've met with the TRA, they've met when people from the estate have actually come to the building at 120 Smallwood Road. They attended there to raise their objections. I did encourage them to write in, and their feeling was that whilst I was trying to explain to them, you can sell alcohol and make it a healthy situation, they were under the impression that from 6 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night is not acceptable, and with no break on a Sunday. And whilst we want a business to thrive, it doesn't have to thrive through alcohol sales only. We were wanting to reduce the hours, which some of it was said till 10 o'clock. But what was misleading, when residents did approach, they were told, don't worry, we're applying for that, but we're only going to be selling up till about 8 or 9 o'clock. Now, that's not acceptable. We need it in writing. If there's some compromise to be had there, we'd welcome it. They want the business. They will use it. They will patronise the shop. But my concern is, if it's based on putting a licence there because alcohol's going to make that a business, make it thrive, I think that's absolutely wrong. I actually did the walk myself from outside the shop to every location within the vicinity that sells alcohol. It's put how long it took me to walk, not by car, to walk. And I know that isn't a licensing condition, but I thought because you're not from the area, you needed to get a mapper. It was also raised that in future, which is hearsay in essence, that they're going to open a post office. The post office from that building is 1.5 miles away. It's at the end of the Leeds Road. There is one there. So it's not miles away, because I live there and I know. So whilst I welcome you to do the business, I do think you need to reflect on the hours. Where this is situated, there's a lot of vulnerable people. I'm surprised that the local authorities and the police and people in authority didn't object, because that's where all the drug dealing is done as well. If you look at the crime issues around there, I'm very, very surprised. But on the other hand, I do welcome the business. I want them to thrive, but it doesn't thrive on the basis of alcohol. We've got to think of health, young people, vulnerabilities, prevention of crime and other disorders that I highlighted. So I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Yeah. So would you like to respond to the points that have been raised?
Just a question. Have you spoken with the applicant at all? Have you tried to meet with her and discuss the application?
I'm not here to speak to the applicant. It's normally inappropriate for us to speak to the applicant. And if the applicant, as you've stated earlier, hasn't took the lease on, the only person I would speak to would be Mr. Mahmood, that actually owns the shop currently.
Okay, I'll respond to that in due course. So, no, I have no further questions.
Thank you. Do panel members have any questions for the objector? I'll just invite all parties to summarise. So would we start with the licensing officer, please?
Chair, it's fairly straightforward from my point of view. We've heard the outline of the application, which I don't see the need to go through it again. We've had representations from the ward councillors. Responsible authorities haven't made representations. And as you've heard, it's an application for alcohol sales, off sales, from 6 to 11 o'clock at night, 7 days a week. Relevant parties have spoken this morning and outlined the application. That concludes what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to sum up?
Yeah, I will respond to what the councillor says. The licensing process, if you have a knowledge of the licensing process, is all about partnership working. It's all about discussing applications during the consultation, and it is absolutely the responsibility of the people who feel that something is going to be a problem to try and speak with the people behind it. No residents have objected. No one is able to say that they wanted to object here today because not one of them has put pen to paper, and that is what you're dealing with. In terms of the comment that this business doesn't have to thrive on the basis of alcohol, that's not what this application is about. Would be if we were 100% alcohol. It's an off licence, of course, but it's only going to be about 10 to 15% of the goods on offer. People will go in there to buy their lettuce and their bread, and they'll grab a bottle of wine or get some beer if they want to, but they do need to. The point of convenience is that it's all available, that everything is there, because otherwise people go elsewhere to buy their goods. That's the point of having alcohol available. The fact that there may be issues in the area, as I said previously, is not particularly a consideration here in these particular circumstances, and it's not the test today. As I said, stores can be operated perfectly lawfully and perfectly well in the worst areas and do so all over the country. In terms of the hours, the retailer is entitled to apply for any hours that they wish, providing this could be 24 hours. I do plenty of 24 hours across the country, providing they demonstrate that they will uphold the licensing objectives the whole of those hours. 11 o'clock is not unreasonable, and I'd like to remind the people who are old enough in here, like me, that 20 years ago, when the licensing law changed, the standard hours for every licensed premises across this country was 11 p.m. Okay? They're not late, and we've said, quite reasonably, we'll come down from that till 11. They're entitled to the hours, providing they present to you the safeguards. What I would say, whether you had 10, 15 residents here or not, and people do get concerned that with new operators coming in and things changing, but rather than impact the quality of lives, these changes are going to be a massive asset. If you've got reasonable people running a shop, if there are problems in the area, they are another set of eyes and ears to deal with the solution. There'll be the improved CCTV. You have a retailer who comes with significant experience. I think that's quite... it's apparent the type of person that you're dealing with, and her high standards will translate into the operation of her premises. And significantly, and this is why I take issue with people not speaking to applicants, she's securing the future of this store for these local people. I only reference the post office in passing, whether it's 1.5 miles away and she doesn't get the post office again, that's just a passing comment. She's securing this store and keeping and improving a facility that is much needed for these local people, which is why you've not got any objections here. The equipment, valuable asset, and as I've said, the test of this application is in the equipment procedures and the applicant themselves, and have we put the correct measures in place, which we absolutely have within this application. You've seen the conditions. If you are of the mind that she's in terms of the hours, if you feel that she's capable of upholding the licensing objectives at 8 p.m, 9 p.m. at night, then she's certainly capable of upholding them till 10 p.m. at night. As I said, it's not late. And I will just leave you with the legal position, which is in terms of the other authorities, but in particular the police. And it's at the top of actually your own bundle here at page 29. That the police are the main source of advice on issues of crime and disorder, and they deem this application to uphold the licensing objectives. So it's a robust application, and to give residents and the councillor here any confidence and solace, there's the power of review should anything happen that is out of order and people are worried about. They can bring Mrs. Solanke straight back here in front of you to deal with that at that point. But I would ask you to grant the licence as applied for with the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Would Councillor Scott like to summarise?
No, I think I'm fine with what I've said. I'll stand by what I've said, and I believe that if there's got to be a working relationship, there would. But I would also, there would be one thing I would comment. It's not normally appropriate for councillors to make contact with somebody that's applied for a licence. We get told there's a licence for a premises being applied for, so it's not my role to seek out and find these applicants.
Thank you. Can I just ask all attendees, do you feel that you've all had a fair opportunity to say what you need to say with regard to the application?
I do, thank you, Chair.
Yes, Chair.
Right, thank you. We will now withdraw from the hearing whilst, and I'll ask all parties to please withdraw from the hearing so the panel can determine the application. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. At today's hearing, the panel considered both verbally and in writing the information which outlined an application for the grant of a premises licence at Shawcross Store Limited, 128 Smallwood Road, Shawcross in Dewsbury. In reaching its decision, the panel had due regard to the provisions of the Licensing Act 2003, the statutory guidance issued under Section 182 of the Act, the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy and the relevant provisions of the Human Rights Act. The panel also considered the representations received, which stated that the licensing objectives in respect of prevention of public nuisance, public safety, the prevention of crime and disorder, and the protection of children from harm would not be achieved if the licence was granted. Therefore, in respect of the aforementioned application, the panel has decided that the application be granted with the following conditions. The sale of alcohol off the premises Monday to Saturday 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. The reasons for the panel's decision is that the granting of the licence with conditions will be in accordance with the following licensing objectives. The prevention of public nuisance, public safety, the prevention of crime and disorder, the protection of children from harm. I would also like to draw your attention to the planning application 2019, which was for a variation of condition in relation to opening hours of the application in 2015, and condition 2, which requires that the opening hours, which are currently at 10 a.m. till 9:30 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. on Sundays. Thank you. Yes. Sunday. No. So what are you wanting to clarify? That is Monday to Sunday. So I've stipulated 2 sets of hours, you see.
No, yeah, that's fine. And yes, the plumbing. I've got that.
Okay. No worries. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your attendance.